If you care about the WNBA, the Indiana Fever, and the Golden State Valkyries expansion plans, this is the update to watch. We're breaking down the expansion draft rules, the leak protection list that sent Fever fans into a frenzy, and what it all means for Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and the franchise's momentum heading into 2025. Stay with us, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our follow-up on the final protection list and immediate fallout. Drop your predictions in the comments. Who should Indiana protect? And who will Golden State target first? The expansion draft is not a routine off-season footnote. It is a structural reset with long-lasting consequences for parity, payrolls, and fan engagement across the league. With the Golden State Valkyries slated to join the WNBA and an expansion draft on deck, every incumbent franchise was given the same hard constraint: protect only 6 players. Everyone else can be selected, with the expansion club allowed to take 1 player from each team and only 1 unrestricted free agent total. That scarcity rule is what makes the Indiana Fever's timing so damaging. Hours before the protection deadline, a social media post on the team's official accounts appeared to telegraph the Fever's 6 protected players, then vanished within 45 minutes. Fans had already screenshotted the image. The league took notice, and Golden State's front office needed no second invitation to dig in. Here's why the Fever find themselves in a spotlight they didn't ask for. Indiana's market value and media profile exploded in the Caitlin Clark era. Her debut triggered a 156% rise in local TV ratings for Fever games. Season ticket renewals climbed roughly 300% after the draft. Merchandise sales are surging, with Clark's jersey leading the league. Aaliyah Boston continues to be a foundational big with elite efficiency. Kelsey Mitchell remains one of the WNBA's most dependable scorers and spacers. The core is strong, the arc is pointing up, and the playoffs are no longer fantasy. They're the floor. That is precisely why leaking the apparent protection strategy was so costly. It wasn't just a photograph. It was a window into Indiana's priorities ahead of the expansion draft, offering the Valkyries a clearer view of potential targets. The image circulated across X, Instagram, and group chats within minutes. Featured head coach Stephanie White flanked by 6 players: Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, Alyssa Smith, and Temi Fagbennel. That lineup, if accurate, would total a significant cap commitment into 2025 and beyond, but prioritized current production, star cohesion, and lineup continuity. One name missing from the picture raised eyebrows immediately: Grace Berger. Grace Berger's omission has become the focal point of the fallout. On a rookie-scale deal, Berger is cost-effective, young, and quietly productive in extended minutes. In games where she eclipsed 20 minutes, she averaged 9.2 points and 4.8 assists, shot 44% from 3, and posted a healthy plus-minus. Several scouts privately see Berger as a potential long-term starter, the kind of secondary ball handler who can relieve Clark, play off the ball, and hold her own defensively. One Eastern Conference executive compared her upside to Courtney Vandersloot's developmental curve: patient, cerebral, and scalable with stars. Protecting only 6 players is a harsh math problem, but leaving a 24-year-old guard with that profile unprotected in an expansion draft is the kind of decision that can haunt a team for multiple seasons, especially when the expansion club has the analytics, capital, and media machine to maximize her development and marketability. The Valkyries have built an NBA-style front office with a deep analytics bench. Several executives have Warriors ties and have been preparing for this expansion draft for months. They've invested in proprietary scouting blends that marry possession-level tracking with advanced lineup efficiency. The club is backed by Silicon Valley Money, a state-of-the-art arena project in Oakland, and reported $50 million in early investment, making the Valkyries one of the best-funded women's sports startups to date. Their cap strategy is already calibrated around a rising tide. The league's next TV deal could push the salary cap meaningfully higher, boosting the value of rookie contracts like Berger's and creating leverage for smart asset managers. From a roster construction point of view, the 6 names in the leaked image present a fairly defensible logic. Caitlin Clark is non-negotiable. She's averaging north of 21 points, leads the league in assists, and has already shattered multiple rookie benchmarks. Her gravitational pull offensively extends beyond her scoring. She changes defensive schemes, unlocks spacing for others, and elevates viewership and sponsor value in ways that set new benchmarks for the WNBA. Aaliyah Boston is the anchor. As a former Rookie of the Year, she's efficient in the post, owns the glass, and has developed a potent two-player game with Clark in high pick-and-roll and middle pick-and-pop actions. Her interior presence stabilizes Indiana on the nights when perimeter shots don't fall. Kelsey Mitchell remains a veteran metronome, at over 18 points per game on elite shooting splits, including around 42% from three. She stretches defenses and buries late clock possessions. Even in the final year of her deal, the expectation is Indiana would use the designation tools available to keep her in place. Lexie Hull's inclusion might puzzle casual observers, but her defensive metrics make her a classic glue piece. With one of the best defensive ratings among WNBA guards and opponents, shooting roughly 34% when she is a primary defender, Hull's on-ball work gives Indiana flexibility to hide other defenders or lean into switch schemes. Championship profiles are often built on players like Hull, who reliably take the toughest assignment. Nalissa Smith is where the debate intensifies. On paper, the production is solid and improving, double-digit scoring, rebounding, and flashes of isolation creation at the elbow. But off-court static has complicated evaluations. An eye-poke incident in practice, a subsequent suspension, and unfortunate social media storylines created tension in the locker room, with at least 3 veterans reportedly requesting private meetings with coaches. Talent wins, but cohesion matters when rotation narrows. Several teams, including contenders, are said to have called about Smith's availability. Temi Fagbennel represents the most debatable slot. As a veteran presence, she brings size, screening, and a steady interior option, but her recent stretch includes a dip in efficiency and impact, a late-season decline in points and rebounds, and a defensive slide in paint deterrence, with opponents converting at a higher clip. Analysts speculate Fagbennel's presence on a protection list could be a smokescreen, preserving leverage for a larger trade or sequence of moves that Indiana prefers not to telegraph. And that brings us back to Berger. If Indiana truly left her exposed, the Valkyries will see a 6-foot point guard who shoots, passes, and defends, with a salary slot that optimizes cap flexibility in a rising market. That is the kind of expansion draft puzzle piece that GMs circle in red ink. Several league observers put the odds of Golden State selecting Berger, if available, well above 90%. The optics have not been kind to Indiana since the post went up and vanished. Fans generated more than 50,000 posts about the Fever in 24 hours across platforms. A petition to keep Berger drew over 15,000 signatures in 6 hours. One cryptic, Trust Indy post from a family member of a star player racked up 100,000 likes before it was deleted. The fan base is energized and anxious, 2 forces that create a volatile feedback loop. Betting markets reacted as well. Vegas odds on Indiana's 2025 title chances drifted notably after the leak, with odds makers citing uncertainty around the protection list as a key driver. The market hates ambiguity, one veteran bookmaker said. This injected a ton of it. Corporate stakeholders are watching, too. The Fever's jersey sponsor, a major healthcare organization, requested an urgent meeting with the club's executives to review stability provisions in their multi-million-dollar contract. Local businesses built around home games are nervous. One restaurant owner near Gamebridge Fieldhouse said game days deliver up to 40% of weekly revenue. Retailers are recalibrating holiday inventory, with Clark jersey sales forecasts bringing over $3 million in December now subject to modeling changes if roster volatility dampens demand. Inside the locker room, the emotional tax is real. Sports psychologists warn that being publicly unprotected lands like a blunt message about a player's value, and that can absolutely affect performance and dynamics. Multiple observers reported a visible dip in interaction at recent practices, with some players appearing hesitant in scrimmages. Several have scheduled extra consultations to reset and refocus. The international angle adds another layer of complexity. European clubs, with deep pockets and strong fan bases, monitor WNBA roster moves and pounds when a high-upside player seems vulnerable. One Turkish powerhouse has already made overtures to representatives of potentially unprotected Fever talent. International media coverage has jumped from sports pages to mainstream outlets, packaging the situation as a case study in digital risk management for pro teams. The league office and the players' union are also taking notes. While the union has not issued a formal statement, sources say they are monitoring for potential CBA implications, specifically whether protections around roster disclosures, timing, and communication should be re-examined in future bargaining. There's a technology lesson here. 2. Digital security consultants emphasize the need for multi-layer approvals on team social accounts. No single staffer should have unilateral posting authority for content that could be construed as strategy. In the short term, teams are instituting phone-free zones at practice facilities and tightening device policies to reduce leak risk. For context, there are cautionary tales. When the Detroit Shock lost core pieces in the 2009 dispersal draft, the slide was steep and the franchise eventually moved to Tulsa. Expansion and dispersal mechanisms test a front office's ability to think 3 moves ahead, protect the right players, and negotiate around the margins. These drafts reward discipline and punish assumption. To be fair, a single image is not a binding list. Multiple well-placed sources hinted that what the public saw may be part of a broader negotiation strategy, with discussions touching on 3-team frameworks, overseas rights, and draft and stash assets. Front offices are not passive in moments like this. They deke, they bait, they set traps. It is entirely possible the deleted post was an early draft, a placeholder, or even a calculated misdirection ahead of last-minute changes. But the stakes are enormous. Indiana's valuation is up more than 30% year over year, and every roster move Golden State makes is a multi-million-dollar swing in potential sponsorship and ticketing. This is about more than a 6th player on a list. It is about the equilibrium of a surging franchise. As for Golden State, this is the moment their low-profile work turns into visible gains. The Valkyries have pinpointed what they believe are 3 franchise pillars in the pool of exposed talent. Their analytics group is already running lineup simulations for 2025 and 2026, projecting fit usage and role elasticity. With $5.7 million in capital earmarked for launch operations and a marketing engine poised to convert role players into local stars, they can afford to invest in smart, scalable pieces who grow alongside a foundational core. There is also the human side. The Fever are finally headed back to the postseason for the first time since 2016. Attendance is up more than 60%. The Clark, Boston, Mitchell core is compelling, marketable, and winning. Pulling the wrong Jenga block at this stage will be costly, and not just on the court. So, what happens next? The final protection lists are due, and the clock is ticking. Teams typically engage in a flurry of back-channel calls in the closing window before submission, gathering intel, floating pick-and-trade ideas, and testing value on veteran contracts. Indiana's negotiating leverage took a hit the moment the post went live, but they still control their own list. They can swap a protected slot, explore value for players who are unlikely to be protected, or preemptively engage the Valkyries on a selection and trade scenario that softens the blow. Around the league, GMs are glued to screens. Agents are working overtime to safeguard clients from surprise exposure. The WNBA community is rightly treating this as more than gossip. It's a litmus test for how franchises balance transparency, digital discipline, player welfare, and business strategy in the social era. There are 2 truths to hold at the same time. First, the expansion draft is a complex calculus, and there is no perfect protection list when you can only safeguard 6 players. Second, leaving a high upside, cost control guard like Grace Berger unprotected would be a gift to a well-funded expansion club. Both can be true, and both will be tested in the hours ahead. E-notification bell for our breakdown of the official protection list and our instant reaction to the biggest surprises. Tell us in the comments who you would protect, which Fever player Golden State should target, and whether the social media leak was a simple mistake or deliberate misdirection. The next 48 hours will shape the Fever's arc and the WNBA's competitive balance for years. Keep your eye on Indiana. The future is being decided in real time.